What's up everybody, it's Dr. G. I hope you guys are doing great. So today I am coming to talk about a topic. It's mainly a requested video. I will tell you guys this is a highly requested video. I've had folks request this since last year of 2022. Gosh, I can't believe 2022 is last year. Okay, yeah. Get back on track, Gloria. So this video was requested last year, and then a lot of people have been requesting it this year. The requested video is the process or the steps in going from nursing or nurse practitioner or any healthcare field that you come from to getting into medical school. And guys, let's face it, it takes a long time to go through that whole process, okay? It will take me forever if I had to sit here and tell you that I could actually highlight like every step, every intricacies of how I went from nursing to medical school. I mean, that will be nearly impossible, you know? So for the sake of brevity, I'm gonna keep it short and try to lump them into 5 steps, okay? So 5 steps from going from your healthcare field, whatever that is, to getting into medical school, and then moving on from there. Maybe another video moving forward from that. Once you get accepted. So let's get started. I've got 5 steps for you. First step is just like anything else that you want to do. You want to do your research. So researching the medical school that you're wanting to get into is the first one, right? Now the question comes down to, do I want to go to a USMD school or do I want to be an IMG? What's the story? And what defines that for you, quite frankly, is where you find yourself at the moment. Now, if you're just some spring chicken, you were so young, you have all the time on your hands, no kids, nothing, no attachment, by all means, for the love of God, do not let me tell you twice, run and go take that MCAT. Get your butt into a USMD school. I hope that will be your focus, okay? Because there are so many pros and cons when it comes to comparing different kinds of medical schools and all that, okay? But then again, going back to your current status, that defines where you are. So let's say you are a nurse. Let's say you are a nurse practitioner. Let's say you are a chiropractor. You're coming from any other healthcare field, but let's say you have family obligations and stuff. It doesn't stop you from going to a USMD school, but just also keep in mind that there are also different requirements for that, okay? And also do not forget the competitiveness of US medical schools, okay? The most recent statistics shows that about 36% of medical school applicants do get accepted. So what happens to the 64% that doesn't get in? You know, that could be you, right? So put all of that into consideration. I think the main reason for that is because there are very limited resources to train many physicians in the US. So because of that, these opportunities for outside the country physicians are being created. And of course, you know, there are folks that will badmouth those that choose to go outside of the US to go to medical school and then come back. Well, you know what you tell them? You do you, baby, okay? Because I'm doing me. Because last time I checked, there are not enough physicians in medical school to train all those that wanted to be doctors in the US. And there are also not enough residency spots available anyway. So who are you to judge anyone deciding to go to medical school, whatever they choose to go to medical school? But anyway, I digress, y'all. Let's get back on topic. Do your research, do your homework, find out what works for you, what medical school. And when you look at these Caribbean medical schools, don't you forget though, you know, they come in tiers. There are some that are top of the tiers, and look at their residency match rate, because if you look at the pros and the cons, going to medical schools in the US, of course, you know, your chances of matching into residence is pretty high up there. Now, when you go to international medical schools, of course, you struggle with trying to get into residency if your credential, like your overall profile, your score, your USMLE scores and everything, it's not looking good. You know what I mean? But just keep all of that in mind when you try to decide, you know, what program, like where should I go or not, okay? Let's move on to the second point. So step number 2, let's talk about prerequisite classes. So you don't just come from being a nurse or being a nurse practitioner and boom, you're into medical school. No, it doesn't work like that. Just because a lot of these medical school, actually every medical school requires you to have the undergrad prerequisite classes. So the pre-med classes before you get into medical school. And what are these prerequisites? And I'm mainly talking about general chemistry, organic chemistry, biochemistry, microbiology. Bottom line is these medical schools have prerequisite science classes that they want you to have before you even apply to the medical school. So you want to look into that. There are two ways you can get these prerequisite classes, okay? So for me, when I knew I always wanted to be a physician, but I've told you guys from my previous videos, guys, life gets in the way, but it is what it is, right? When I was in nursing school, I was also taking pre-med classes for medical school. So I was taking pre-med classes and then also nursing classes as well. They were like my electives. You know how you get to have like elective classes that you can take. So I'll always sprinkle my pre-med classes in there. Now, these are ways to get that while you're in school. The other way is like going to whatever community college that you have in your area. I also got some of my prerequisite classes from my local community college as well, and that's also another way to get it. Of course, some people will get it from, you know, the four-year universities as well, which I don't think it makes any sense, because if you're already a nurse, why go back to school for another 4 years? And for the most part, it takes you about 2 years to get most of these prerequisite classes. Pay attention to what they require, like what each school, whether the USMD school or international medical schools, whatever they require as far as prerequisite, and then start having like a game plan of how you're going to get that. And don't forget too, so whatever route you decide to take, let's say you want to go to say community college in your area and stuff to go get the prerequisite for 2 years. So if you factor that in, medical school, give or take, will probably take you 6 years, because you need like 2 years. Some people spend about maybe 16 to 18 months completing all the prerequisites that they need for medical school. And then you also have folks that spend the full 2 years, depending on how fast you move with that, like if you were full-time or if you were part-time or whatever the case might be. So you factor that in 2 years for your prerequisites, and then of course you factor in a full 4 years for medical school, which gives you a total of 6 years. Oh, another point I forgot to mention about the prerequisites is that some of the medical schools I know would also give you the opportunity, I do know like the international medical schools at least, will give you the opportunity to come into their program, be accepted, and also do the pre-med classes in their school. And then once you're completed with everything, then it'll be like a direct admit for you to move through the process. They'll probably charge you almost the same thing that they charge a typical med student in the Caribbean Islands, which is not cheap anyway. So I basically declined it, but I do know a few friends, MUA, one of the Caribbean medical schools as well, they do the same thing. So quite a few of them out there, they offer that option. But guys, if you ask me, I think it doesn't make sense. Like, why would I go to the island, go sit there just to do my prerequisite classes and then also pay almost like a medical student tuition if I could basically just go to my local community college and get these classes done and then keep it moving? I like to think that when you get to a point where going to medical school or being a doctor is a second career, your goal at that point is to try to get everything in as quickly, be efficient, and also be pretty quick at getting these things done. Point number 3 is the MCAT. You cannot escape it. Well, sort of. You don't even get me started on this whole MCAT. And MCAT was harder for me than the USMLE, like every step of the USMLE, and I have taken all 3. But anyway, going back to the MCAT. So you guys know every allopathic medical school, every DO medical school in the US, they require that you take MCAT. Now also a handful of Caribbean medical schools or in other international medical schools are also requiring that you take that as well. The Caribbean medical schools, though, I think they mainly want you to take that because it's a requirement for the schools that offer you Title IV financial aid. So say you go to something like AUA or Ross or St. George's, any of the schools up there, that they want you to have that because these schools offer Title IV financial aid, and they will not offer you this. They wouldn't even offer you admission unless you take these exams. So MCAT is important, right? MCAT is important, but does it define who's going to be a good doctor? I do not think that. For me, I took the MCAT. I thought it was hard. I also passed it. For those that are sitting there thinking, oh, those that decided to go to international medical schools, that's the reason why. No, let me tell you guys, in my case, actually, I passed the MCAT, but in this situation, prerequisites, yeah, let me backtrack a little bit about prerequisites. So the U.S. medical school prerequisites do expire, okay? It can expire in like 5 years. I think that's what they told me. So they wanted me to retake all of my prerequisites, and that would have been another 2 years. Oh no, I wasn't going to do that. So most of the international medical schools, your prerequisite classes are still good for about 10 years. And I think mine was older than 5 years just because, like I told you guys, I was taking it while I was in nursing school. So when it came time to apply to medical school, it was honestly too late at that point. So they wanted something that was less than 5 years. They wanted me to retake everything, which I wasn't going to do that. So guys, let me also tell you, when you're looking at these international medical schools and stuff, and please pay attention to their residency match rate. A lot of times they post different things online about, oh, we have a match rate of 80-90%. Don't believe none of that. that, okay? Do not believe any of that stuff. It even makes more sense if you're able to speak to folks that have gone through their programs as well. And some of them are honest about it. Some will give you a list of where their students have matched residency, and then you get to see, you know, what is it? You're not expecting it to be perfect, right? It's not supposed to be pristine. Even the USMD schools do not have 100% match rate, so you don't expect international medical schools either. But anyway, at least a decent number of folks matching into residency could give you a clue of, okay, this will make sense for me. And also the kind of training, ask about where they do their rotations, okay? Like you MPs out there, you know how crazy it was going out there trying to find a preceptor for your clinical rotation. When you are an international medical student, you want to make sure that nonsense does not repeat itself, guys, okay? You make sure you're paying these people a whole lot of money to make sure that you get good medical training. They should already have these things set up, these clinical rotation affiliation sites already set up for you, so you don't have to go out begging for somebody to take you as a student. That's really an important part. Gotten all your stuff together, it's time to apply. So apply into medical school, right? You've done your research, you've decided where you're going to go, MCAT or no MCAT or whatnot. Do they need, do they not? You've gotten all your prerequisites, you've completed everything, and now it's time for you to apply. Of course, you go through the usual process, right? Apply to as many as you can afford. That's why I tell most people. Yeah, so when I applied to the US medical schools, you know, I started getting responses from a lot of them, and majority of them started telling me about how, oh yeah, you have great credentials and stuff, but we feel like your prerequisites are beyond 5 years old and we like them to be under 5 years, so we do want you to repeat them. I was like, bump that. I'm gonna go somewhere else. So, and that's what I did. And that's why we're here, living it up at the top still, okay? Regardless of where you end up, it's about how much work you put into this process. So the very last step now, let's assume you've gone through the whole process now, step 1, 2, 3 to 4, you've applied, and oh my gosh, you got accepted. Well, congratulations, wherever you got accepted. Don't do like I did and say, I'm just gonna hold up because my kids are too young and I can't go just yet. You know what? Go. Make it work. Step number 5, guys. Step number 5, you gotta get your money right, baby. Especially if you're an IMG, okay? If you're an IMG and you got accepted, you will have to get your money right. Let's say you're a nurse, you're working as a nurse practitioner, whatnot. Make no mistake. Don't even fall on, oh, I'm just gonna keep working and make money to keep it going, stuff like that. Oh no, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work, baby. Because at some point, you will have to stop working. And the international medical schools, once you stop paying, you stop going to school. Once you stop paying, they stop scheduling you for rotations. Once you stop paying, everything stops. So you're gonna have to get your money right. Now, if you got accepted into US medical school, so the MD schools, DO schools, so allopathic or osteopathic medical school, well, more than half of your medical school financial problem is solved because you qualify for the Title IV financial aid. You will get that, right? Let's say you need to get accepted into any DO or MD school or whatnot. Well, sister, well, brother, it's gonna be expensive. So get ready. You will have to get that money right. Now, when I say get your money right, what, how? So that's the other part. A lot of people ask me and stuff like, well, now you got to go back and ask yourself, man, look in that bank account, look in your little purse and stuff, all the little money you've saved, how much you got so far for medical school. Can you even afford it? Because that's another thing. And there are different options about how you can finance medical school. Well, guess what? That will be another video that I'm gonna make after this one. You gotta get the finances straight and stuff once you get accepted, and then start making your plans, and of course start working out, sorting out family situation. How is this gonna work out? Do I have children? Do I have a support system? Ding, 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 support system. It's so important when you're in medical school, say you have kids, you're married or whatnot, are the special relationships that are important to you. You're gonna have to get your support system, kind of rally up everybody and have your little meeting like, listen, y'all, I'm gonna be your doctor and we have to make this work, y'all. So that's that. And those are my 5 steps. And like I said, guys, I could keep going on and on and on about this because it's a long process, but like I said, for the sake of brevity, I have just basically compiled these things in just 5 steps. Guys, feel free to send me your questions. You're just confused about anything, you need additional information regarding everything that I have talked about today, or you on the fence trying to decide, you know, should I do this or should I not? I would have loved to say just go do it, you know, like Nike says, just do it. But sometimes though, we do have to delay a bit just to kind of get things structured, things situated in our lives before we proceed. Anyway, guys, this is it for me. I will stop here, guys. Until next time, it's Dr. G. You take care. Bye.